Hey guys, just a little review for the week. This week we're actually not going to do anything new. We're just going to review the quadratic formula, which you guys can see up top, and the two possible answers that you can get. So again, we're going to deal with the quadratic formula and the two possible answers, which we know are the rational numbers, rational answers, which basically are whole numbers like fours, negative threes, or fractions, 2/3, negative 4/5, stuff like that. Okay, we know that those are the possibilities for rationals. So the other possibility, of course, is our irrationals, which basically turn out to be huge decimals because of this plus or minus square root of, and I'm just going to put something you guys recognize, 17, which can't be broken down. And if you can't break it down, it turns out to be some crazy non-repeating decimals. Okay, so those are the two things we're going to deal with. I'm just going to review the two types of questions with you guys, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's get set up here. Let me get you back on start. There we go. All right, I think I can drag this down here. Yep, good. Drag this over here, and we will blow this up a little bit. All right, so problem number one. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so again, we know that we're working with quadratic formula. We'll be using the perfect squares if we have to. So step one, as you guys know, make sure it's set equal to 0, which this one is all set. So we don't have to do any solving. So next, it's plugging into the formula, which we have over there. So here we go. X equals, remember we call this opposite of B. So it's opposite of what B is. Remember, this is my A, this is my B, this is my C. Remember to include the sign. So opposite of B would be positive 7 because B is negative 7, right? Plus or minus, square root symbol. And then we have a lot of parentheses. Negative 7 squared, minus 4, A is 3, and C is negative 6. Slap parentheses. All over 2a. Okay. Something a lot of you guys were getting wrong on the other problem was right here. When the b is negative, if you put this in your calculator, the calculator kind of spits it out wrong. It actually thinks it's a negative 49, but if you put it in parentheses, it's positive 49. So you always want to put it in parentheses. A little trick that my college professor taught me was don't ever put a negative sign in this spot because it's always going to turn out positive anyway. But the truth is, put in parentheses and you're safe. Okay? So with a little calculator work, we get x equals 7 plus or minus, and hopefully your calculator spits it out. We got 121 for all the numbers in the box. Remember, always do the box first. Box in the bottom. Box in the bottom. Okay, so once you get to here, that really is your answer, but then they want it in different forms. So the first thing you want to do is test it out. So we bring over here, square root of 121 ends up being perfect square, 11. So we know we're good to go. This is going to be a rational answer, which means it's either a whole number or a fraction. So from here, we just split it up into two problems. 7 plus 11 over 6. And 7 minus 11 over 6. Punch that into your calculator, and you end up with a 3 here. And I think, if I did this right, it was negative 2/3 over on this side. So those are your two answers. Okay? Those are rational. Remember, that happens when the square root turns out to be a whole number. Okay, so let's reset this a little bit. Drag this over here, shrink it down, and let's move our whole screen over here. Okay, so number 2 ends up looking like this. Now you can see that we've got some issues here. First of all, it's not set equal to 0, so step 1, set it equal to 0. Let's just kind of draw a wall. Most of you guys get the x squared to the left side, so let's make that disappear. Put it in the right spot. And then we've got a 4 to get rid of, which is subtract 4 from both sides. Now, there is no regular numbers over here, so I'm just going to chuck it in the middle, knowing I'm not allowed to put x's with regular numbers. Most of you guys are good at this. So we end up with 3x squared. I'm going to put the 12x next. And of course the regular number is last. That's ABC form, standard form. Set equal to 0. I'm good to go. So here's my A, here's my B, and here's my C. And again, we're going to go back to, let me just make sure I drag this across. All right, quadratic formula. Let's stick that thing in there. So here we go. So we go to x equals opposite b plus or minus square root. All right, got the b squared. Remember, put that in parentheses. Minus 4. A is 3. And c is negative 4. All over 2a. Okay. So again, the next thing on our list, of course, is to take care of the box. Now remember, the box is just the numbers under there, the box and the bottom. Okay, so if we do that in our calculator, hopefully, we get, let me get my color change here. X equals negative 12 plus or minus square root, and this turns out to be, it was pretty ugly, 192 all over 6. Okay, so you know what's next. We take the 192 and we test it out. Okay, this test is to tell us if it's going to be irrational, which is ugly, or irrational, which turns out to be 2 whole numbers. So again, we take our list of perfect squares. I'm going to drag them over here, and we start dividing 192 by that list. So again, I usually start with something close to half. So I would do 192 divided by 81. Doesn't work. And then 192, I think, divided by 64 is the magic number. So it breaks up into, and I'll do it Rooney and Schulte. You guys do it like this. So they do 64, and it turns out to be 3. Okay, my class would just write the 64 times 3. Either case, you know what comes out. Okay, so whichever way you decide to do it, you end up with 8 square root of 3. Okay, again, if this doesn't turn out to be a whole number, we know we have to simplify it by using the perfect squares. Most of you guys are pretty good at that. All right, so once we get it simplified, we rewrite negative 12 plus or minus square root of 8 root 3, which is really 192, right? We just simplified it, all over 6. That is, for the most part, your final answer. Again, if you can reduce, that's the key to simplifying. This is partial credit what you have so far, just so you guys know. It's just not reduced. All right, so you pick a number that can go into only the whole numbers. Remember, you are dealing with simply, and again, I'm going to highlight them just to make sure we're reviewing this right. We only want to take care of the whole numbers. Nothing else. We don't care about the square root. It's got to be one number that goes into all 3, not just 2. So what number goes into all 3 of those? It's divided by 2. So 2 is our, and I'll show it, divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2. Okay, so we end up with, let me get it in black. Final answer, negative 6 plus or minus 4 all over 3. Okay, that is going to be the final answer. Okay, so that's your review. This whole week, you guys are going to get 2 worksheets, 4 problems each. 2 of them are going to be rational numbers. 2 of them are going to be irrational numbers. Just simplify as best you can. The answers will be on the bottom. Hope this helps. Talk to you guys at the end of the week.